welcome to Believe in Chargers with the great Lorenzo Neal. Matt Money Smith here. A big thank you to our friends at FanDuel for helping us put it on, get through some of the odds as they've shifted a tiny bit. But Lowe's, pretty busy week. We get 1 day right now. We will have next week 3 days of mini camp that we'll be able to kind of talk about. But did get really wasn't practice. They just kind of stretched, did a little bit of individual drills, and then ran through, I think it was like 16 plays of just diagnosis. That was it, really. And then we had 4 pressers. We had offensive line coach Butch Barry. We had, as it stands right now, he's out there with the one, starting left guard Kayode Awosika, starting right guard Cole Strange, who, of course, came over with Mike McDaniel and Butch Barry from Miami. And new defensive tackle signed away from Arizona, Dalvin Tomlinson. And his presser got off to a kind of fun start. So we asked him why he signed with the Chargers, and he said, I don't know. I thought the name Tomlinson looked pretty good on the back of a Charger jersey.
Hey, he's a smart guy. My God, he should go into comedy. You know, he's a comedian already. I think he's right. He's saying, hey, if I can have just a fraction of that guy's career wearing that jersey, I'll be okay. So Tomlinson, great choice of words. He understands the great LT, what he meant to that organization. And it's great that we got some beef. Where's the beef? It's in the middle. Got a guy signed over from Arizona. These guys going to be in the middle, going to plug up some stuff. So it's good to see those guys out there. And just can't wait to get this season going.
Yeah, and I think, and I would assume this applied to you as well, though. If you were kind of shopping around in free agency and someone basically told you, yeah, all you're going to do is block. That's it. That's what we're bringing you in for. And then there's another team that says, no, man, we want to move you around. Want you to catch some passes. Want to see you run a little bit of, short yardage, maybe some red zone. Probably get a little more excited. And that's what Tomlinson said. He's like, when I was in Cleveland, they moved me around. I wasn't just a zero. And he goes, and that's kind of one of the things that they pitched to me here. And I think that's one of the things that got T.R. Tart excited, Poona Ford, Deshaun Hand. They get a lot of these defensive tackles on pretty team-friendly contracts. And Mike Elston, D-line coach, and obviously it was Jesse Minter, now Chris O'Leary. I just feel like they empower their players to do more. It's like, no, you're not just going to be stuck there, over the center. We want you as a 3. We can even see as a little bit of 5. And I think that it's one of the things that he brought up that led to him wanting to sign here. He's like, I feel like I got so much more to offer. He goes, I get it. Look at how I'm built, but at the same time, and we've seen it, right? We've seen it with T.R. Tart. We've seen it with Poona. We saw it with Deshaun Hand last year. They do a really good job of letting these guys expand their portfolio and in turn get bigger deals out there in free agency and help the guys out.
Yeah, I think the Chargers do a phenomenal job doing that. Not saying that there's not other teams, but what they do, a lot of these guys that play that 3, they say, oh my God, now I'm going to be over the guard in the center. I'm going to be here. I'm going to get double teamed. I'm just going to eat up space. They do a great job of saying, hey, no, we're going to move you and let you play that 1 eye or 2 eye and head up on the guard. We're going to let you play head up on the guard, head up on the center, and we're going to put a tackle right there by you. So you're going to get a one-on-one block. And I think when you see those young guys or these interior linemen, the 3 techniques, having the opportunity to get one-on-one blocks, even though they're big and you say, oh, they're stiff, they're a slug, they just need to be a space eater. These big fellas start to move, show some agile, trying to be shaking guys, use the bull rush, they're using moves that they don't ordinarily use because they usually just sit there on 2 guys. They know the double team's coming. They're trying to split one guy. They really can't have an opportunity to shake. So now when you see them lined up in different spots, and that's what this Chargers defense does, it allows you to get out of your comfort zone, but it allows you also to utilize your strengths and utilize them to the fullest. So I think that's one of those big reasons why a lot of interior linemen have success here and go on to get bigger contracts.
Yeah, and I think, and we'll see if it holds. Obviously, it's a new DC, but it's the same D-line coach in Elston, but new DC and Chris O'Leary. But the one thing that Jesse Minter did really well was, man, he shuffled those guys in and out, man. He rotated those guys through. They were fresh legs all game long, and you combine that with Coach Herbert, with Ben Herbert's fourth quarter finishers and their extra period and making sure he feels like these guys are the most conditioned, the best conditioned players in all of football. And I think that's one of the reasons why they've had so much success is you're not relying on guys to log all of these snaps and maybe get a breather here and there. Instead, it's almost like a hockey line, right? They kind of do a little bit of the hockey line changes with those interior guys and adding a guy like Tomlinson. It's why I think it was such a priority to, if you look every year since Joe Ortiz has been here, is it's been one every offseason, right? One or two. You know, it was Poona Ford, then it was Deshaun Hand and Naquan Jones, and then this last offseason, and they draft the guy, right? They draft Jamari Caldwell, and they draft Barrett, and now they do the same thing. They sign Tomlinson. They draft, like I said, Barrett. Like they need 6 guys, you know, 6, 7 guys that can rotate in there. And I'll say this too: Boygby has looked really good. I thought he took a big step last year, and I think you kind of put him into that mix as well. And of course, Thule fits into that mix. So it's just figure I'd start with that. It was the first presser that we had, and outside of that, I think that's kind of what my takeaway was from Dalvin. Let's see, good scheme, good coaches. He even brought up, he's like, it reminded me a lot of Alabama. He's like, when I was playing at Alabama, he goes, you know, I just felt like I was used a lot better there.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, like you talked about too, just the rotation, understanding that guys can stay fresh. And coach say, hey, give it all you got. I'm gonna give you 4 or 5 plays in a row. Hey, look, after that, I'm gonna rotate you in. You just give me what you got. I'm gonna watch and make sure. And they do a great job of monitoring guys' snaps. And you see, even with Cleo older, taking him off the field at times, putting him in for he can be fresh. They do a great job of rotating guys and getting guys to play. That's why when you're a Charger, if you're playing this defense, if you're in that rotation, you're gonna get 15, 20 snaps a game. That's because they're going to try to keep fresh bodies. They want guys to be able to play for 4 quarters, but play at a high level. So that's always good when you're an interior lineman, and that does give you a lot more juice, and it gives you more excitement because you're saying, hey, look, I'm going to play. I'm going to go to this place, and I may not be the starter, but I'm going to play like a starter because I'm in the rotation. I may not be the first guy on the field, but I may be the last guy on the field.
Yeah, and look, there's no pads on it. You know, there's no pads on yet. It's helmets and shorts right now, but just kind of the one, just to wrap up sort of on the defense. Still kind of, I'm anxious to see when the pads go on, if we see him get worked into this rotation. But just the linebacker rotation continues to be Dayon and Denzel and Troy Dye and Del'Shawn Phillips. You know, Del'Shawn got his opportunity last year. You know, we know he's their special teams ace. Probably should have been in the Pro Bowl as the special teamer. At least get some votes for the All-Pro. I thought he was sensational in that role last year, but then he got his opportunity with some of the injuries that snuck up, and so that was kind of your rotation, is those 4 guys, you know, DP and Dayon, and then Troy Dye mixed in, and then Del'Shawn, and then a little bit of Marlowe Wax, and Junior Colson was just kind of standing off to the side there, helmet in hand, and I think we're all so excited about the opportunity based on, you know, what we thought he would be able to contribute as that 3rd-round pick. Out of Michigan, captain of their defense, helped led them to a national championship, and unfortunately injuries these first 2 seasons and just not quite getting in there yet. And it was recognition. That's all this was guys on the field for maybe 16 plays. So I don't want to read too much into it, but just kind of previewing next week and something that I'd be looking forward to. And that's hopefully seeing Junior get out there.
When you look at Junior, you know, he was a plugger at Michigan, you know, like you said, defensive captain, the things that he brought to the table. How is he like on special teams? I know he's been injured last several years, really haven't got to see him, you know, reach his full potential in the NFL. See him be a great college player. Some guys in college, you know, they just started. They didn't play special teams. Is he a guy that you see that has a motor? Is he big enough? Is he fast enough? Because, you know, he's a big guy. He's a pretty solid guy. Could he be a great special teams player to hold it down? Because you got to realize there's only a certain amount of chairs. You know what I'm talking about, that 53-man roster.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, Lo. Don't know. But, you know, the phase 1, phase 2 is a lot of special teams. And he's definitely out there with them. He's working in. And we know how important. Look, it's one of the reasons. It's probably the primary reason why they signed Troy Dye. And he ended up turning that into a lot of linebacker reps and good linebacker reps. It is absolutely the primary reason they signed Del'Shawn Phillips after letting Nick Niemann get away. And he turned that into, like I said, late in the season, he's got a physical component to his game, man. He can really bring some thump out there that I think impressed the coaches, which is why he earned more. You know, the first thing you said was when you look at Junior, and immediately in my head, I said to myself, yeah, when you look at Junior, like, dude, first guy off the bus, man, because he looks it. I mean, he definitely looks it. So I think it's maybe they're just bringing him on a little bit slowly. I don't know, you know, the injury's not quite, you know, he's not 100% back. So maybe they're taking it a little bit easy on him. And maybe that's the case. I hope that's the case. Because really of all the defensive players, it's sort of the one I'm focused on most, just selfishly, because I thought I was like, gosh, I remember when they were making that selection, because both Blake Corum and Junior Colson were there, kind of the two most important players from that national championship team for Coach Harbaugh's first year here. And I was like, oh, man, take the linebacker. Don't take the back. Come on, take the backer. Don't take the back. And they ended up taking the linebacker, and I was very excited. So maybe it's a confirmation bias that I want to see myself prove right. But we'll see. I think outside of that, I feel like everything's pretty well set. Your corners are Tarheeb, Cam, Dante, and then we'll see who works in there. I think that fourth corner is an interesting one, right? Because, you got Derwin, who's a slot for the most part. He's big nickel. He's playing a lot of slot, but I think it's Nico Reed, Eric Rogers, kind of in that, and then whether or not one of these other undrafted free agents starts to kind of raise his hand. Safeties, we know what it is, right? It's Unk, it's Tony Jefferson, Elijah Molden, it's R.J. Mickens, and it's Derwin, and we'll see if somebody can kind of crack. Obviously, they drafted. Why is his name escaping me out of Arizona right now? It's I can't think of it. Shame on me. Genesis Smith. They drafted him, so you already got your 5 set there. And I think line is pretty much, the interesting one on the line is going to be because Coach O'Leary's very excited about him. He had Nadame Tucker at Western Michigan, led the nation in sacks, turned that defense around with Chris O'Leary coordinating it from, I think it was like 112th to 18th in the nation, and, won the MAC. And we know what the MAC is, man. There ain't a lot of teams that are getting, Toledo ain't out there writing big checks. So the Rockets, this is a coach and a player conference, and to win the MAC after kind of what they had last year, primarily using defense, and Dame Tucker being the engine of that defense. So there's going to be some pressure on Kyle Kennard. I think there is. So I think those are probably the defensive battles. We've been talking so much offense. I just figured I'd kick it off with D.
I think we jumped on D. When you look at, just kind of OTAs in itself, Matt, and you're out there and you understand, hey, the first mini camps going to come up, they're getting harder. They're phase 1 of OTAs, talking about 16 plays, recognition, seeing what the guys can do. Is this more when the listeners are listening? Is this more of a get in shape, see what guys are, see how much they can learn, what's their mental capacity? When you're thinking of OTAs, and if you're an outsider looking in, from your perspective, being at the media, being there, what's your overall, assessment of what OTAs, from the start to finish, what you're trying to accomplish?
I'm glad you asked it because got it right here. So this is our Butch Barry presser, offensive line coach, and he's the perfect person to ask, right? Because it's a new system. We talked about Joe Alton, Rashawn Slater, who have never played in a wide zone, outside zone scheme before, and we said, where do you start? You got your two most important players on the line who said they've never done this. So how do you get this thing going? What are we doing right now? And he said, this is what OTAs are for. It says right there. I wrote it down. Establish the standard. Establish the standard. And he said, high energy. He said, I got a high energy group. My energy matches them. And let me tell you, man, if there's one coach you can hear out there every day, it's Butch Barry. You hear him 100 yards away screaming, go, 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 run, run, run. You hear it all the time.
Energy.
He said, establish a standard, hit it daily. I don't set the standard. The players set the standard. My job is to make sure they hit it. And if I don't think they're hitting the standard that they told me they want to establish, then that's on me to make sure they know that I'm going to hold them to what they told me they want the standard to be, and I expect them to reach that every single day. And he said, I want them to hit it every day in practice, in OTAs, in meetings, and that way it carries over to games. And so that's basically what he said. It was a really great presser. So again, I say this every week, right? But I can't say it enough. I think it's the best coaching staff in football. It's not just the head coach. It's the coordinators, and it's not just the coordinators. It's position coaches. When you got Klink coaching corners, and you got, former Florida State defensive coordinator, Fuller coaching safeties, and you've got Mike Elston, who could easily be a DC somewhere, especially in college, after all those years of coaching up those D-lines at Notre Dame. And he just likes coaching D-line. And Dylan Roney on edges, like all of them are so impressive when you talk to him. And Butch, he made a great point, Lo, and because everyone was asking him about scheme and how you fit into the scheme. And he said, he goes, all I got to do right now is just I need to get point A right. He goes, I can't get to point B until point A is right. He's like, so that's all we're doing. He's like, we're just establishing, and we'll get into what the other offensive linemen said and how they described it. But he's like, we're just establishing that as soon as that ball is snapped, let's go. He goes, that's number one. Like, you have to get that. You have to fire off the ball. You have to establish, the direction you're going. Everybody's going the same direction. Everybody's pulling the rope the same. He goes, that's the most important thing right now. He's like, that's basically what we're doing, is just that's reactive, proactive, not reactive. He's like, he goes, we can be reactive at times. He goes, but our biggest thing right now is establish we are a proactive offense. They react to us. We do not react to them. So he's like, that's basically, we're in control of that. We control basically that we set the tone. Yeah. That, we're the ones that dictate terms. And he's like, that's all we're really coaching up right now.
And if you think about the system that they're in, and you saw it with Cal Shanahan, you saw it when they were there, think about how always the Niners usually a fast start. And Miami, fast start. And when you're talking about this, so I'm just thinking, what does he mean? And so now the regulation of going back to teams that have been in this type of system, seeing how guys they go quick. It's quick to go get you, catch you on that back hill before you know it, they're 14-7-0, because they start fast. So I understand when you're talking about, setting the standard, the hustle, getting to the spot quick. It's just interesting how those big boys can just, it's 0 to 60. They have to warm up. You understand what you're going into. So your mindset, and that's why he's talking about setting the standard, because the standard has to be set in your mind. Because if you're not warm, you're not go out there, you got to go 0 to 60 right away. It's tough mentally and sometimes even physically. So you have to go out there saying, okay, I know that I have a plan. I have to make sure that I set the standard. And what is the standard? Making sure that I stretch, make sure that I'm loose, make sure that I'm ready to go once that whistle snaps, because that's our advantage. And that's how this type of offense, this spread offense, or this zone, this stretch offense, it works because you're hustling to the spot.
Yeah, I figure, you know what? I'll just go through this, because really all we had were the pressers. Like I said, it was recognition, so there was really nothing in practice. So I'll just start, and you stop me, just jump in low, because you've been in this offense before. You know what it takes. He let's see, talked about his intensity. If he's always been this way, and he said yes. That he's like, one of the great things about being here is Coach Harbaugh and the culture, that everybody here loves coaching football. He's like, and that's what I love to do. I love when guys find their aha moment, like, I got it. He goes, there's nothing more rewarding as a coach than when you can see them get it and feel it. He compared it to a golf swing. Lowe's got his big golf tournament coming up, June 26th. Pay attention, folks. Get out there to the Fullback Classic. But he said it's like a golf swing, when all of a sudden it just clicks and you hit it pure. And he's like, that's what it is. It's in this offense. It's when you find it, and when you get that sweet spot, everybody has that moment. They're like, okay, now I get it. And he's like, that's what we're searching for. He mentioned urgency, need to be urgent. I said the proactive, take advantage of what we are in charge of. We're in charge of the play. We know the play. They don't. Make sure we're the ones that set that standard, set that tone, that this is our play, and you've got to react to it. We don't. We're not reacting to a blitz. We're not reacting to some shift. We're the ones that force you to react. He mentioned, let's see what he said. Oh, Slaughter. He mentioned them. He thinks in terms of Slaughter. He said it's easier to go from center to guard. He's like, center, you just, you already have those recognition skills. You see things better than almost anybody else on the offensive line. He's like, so really, in terms of the mental aspect of it, it's much easier. And he's like, we just have to coach up the physical. He's like, we just got to work on, footwork, the way things are a little bit different. You can help me with this, Lo. He talked about neutral zone distance. He's like, that's the biggest thing. He's like, when you're a guard, the neutral zone distance is different. And that then leads you to have to play a little bit differently. He's like, and that's the stuff that can maybe take a second. He said, but Slaughter's incredibly intelligent, hard worker, and he has no doubt he'll get it.
Yeah, and he's just talking about, with the center and the nose, if the ball's right there with the center, so you're a lot closer to your opponent, so you have a better chance of grab and reach. And when now you're talking about that neutral zone distance, and now you move the guard, it's like, okay, oh boy, I'm 2 yards back, I got to have my toes there, and now the guy got in front of me, he's in front. I got to set my feet. I got to have a good punch. It's more technique, I think, more technique and more, footwork at that guard position. Of course, to tackle even more because you're at a the defensive line has a little bit of an advantage. He gets to run and start, so you got to make sure you're set. So he's understanding the nuances of the game, but he's saying, hey, look, you're adjusting. You are center. It's easier to go from center to, from guard to center, or center to guard rather. And so he thinks his guys have it. And like you said, though, money is when you put on the pads. That's when you start separating, and it's great that guys are getting. It's great that guys are getting the tempo. It's great that they're setting the standard. It's great that they're setting the tone now. So when you put on pads, now you don't have to think. So it's great that you're throwing everything at these guys. You're making these guys run at a high speed. You're making them play at a high clip. You want that to happen now. So when you put on the pads, now guys are just reacting. They're not thinking, okay, I got to get here. The spot's here. That's why I think they're pushing them. That's why they're making them say, let's set the tone. Let's play at a very fast pace, because we're on pads. Things are going to change.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's when we'll really start to see it. Next week, I do our friends at FanDuel, like I said, I'm looking right now. Chargers right now, plus 180 to win the AFC West. So one of the favorites right up there. Super Bowl still plus 1,600. AFC plus 750. That was plus 800. So for whatever reason, that came down a tiny bit to make the playoffs. Definite favorites. A minus 168 is what our friends over at FanDuel have going right now. No line set yet for the opener against Arizona, as far as I can see. Let's see if I go to schedule. It does not have anything there, but still obviously pretty early for that. So, it's kind of what we're at right now there. So here we go. Keep going. Balance reaction. Oh, Tyler Biadasz, new center, because he was talking about evaluating draft. He was like, it was great to get here and be part of the evaluation process for the draft. And he was obviously part of the decision to sign Tyler Biadasz as their center. And he said he's got incredible balance and incredible reaction time. And that's the first thing that jumped out at him. Again, loves football, someone who is always in the office, is always watching tape. And he said the key with Tyler, why it was important to him when asked, do we want to keep this guy? Are we, 3 years, 30 mil, pretty good chunk. Are we good with that? And he said the difference with Tyler is, he said a lot of times in wide zone or outside zone, he's like, you need guys that can move. He's like, and there's a trade-off, is these guys that can move. If you need them to anchor, it might not be there. That's something that's kind of hard. And if they can anchor, a lot of times they're not moving. He said Tyler is a premier center for this offense because his anchor is incredible, and he's also super athletic. So he's like, that's why for me, it was, when they asked me, he's like, I was all over this. Like, don't let him leave. This guy is perfect for this system. So, and then obviously with Cole Strange, said that he wanted to be in this system, felt like he really started picking it up toward the end of the year and got really comfortable in it. And that he leads by example, that he's, big help to a lot of the guys. Having him here is, like I said, there's a lot of dudes that have not played in this system. So to have him there has been a big advantage. So there's that. He said play fast is a key. So you got to be conditioned. Force the defense to react. That's sort of the basis of the system that Mike McDaniel runs, that it helps players. The quickness, obviously. Quick game's going to help your offensive line. He's like, I love it. My guys are better off because there's so much quick game. They're always going to be running off the football. And he asked if he had an aha moment. And he said, yes. He said, my aha moment that this is the only system I ever want to run. He said he was actually a defensive coach in Green Bay. He said, I was coaching D, and obviously Coach LaFleur, we know, is part of the Shanahan tree. And he said, I just felt like, I felt like we were on our heels the whole time. He's like, and in that moment, I was like, okay, I get it, man. I totally get it. I am not comfortable coaching this defense with how they're running this offense.
Wow. And that's a lot especially when you hear a guy that was a D-line coach, now offense line coach saying, hey, I don't feel comfortable when I know my defense now is at a disadvantage, because you as a defense, you have to make sure contain. They always teach you contain, don't let it get outside you. Now you guys have guys sprinting to get to a place that makes you contain. Now you have widened the different holes and making it easier. When you're talking about that and you have this line coach but told, hey, we got a center that not only can run to get to a spot, but also on 3rd down and 5 or 3rd and 10, we got to sit back and throw the ball. He's got some lead in the hips that he can sit down and be able to take on the 300-pounders, be able to block those guys, be able to, not let the middle get pushed. We know at Herbert, great quarterbacks, they like to climb up in the pocket. You need a center that's going to stop that inside momentum push. So give some time to look downfield, stay in the pocket, and stay poised. So the things that you're hearing about this offense and this system, and especially when you have the talent, what I'm hearing and what you're seeing, that they have the guys to execute this type of offense. And that's, you talk about different guys, maybe like a Zion. Maybe here's a guy comes off hard, boom, big physical, can run, block, tough. But did he fit this offense? Can he run and pull and get in the thing and do what you want them to do? So sometimes guys that fit some offenses doesn't fit this type of offense. This is a different type of offense that requires you to run, get to a spot, and make sure you making these defenders cover every blade of grass.
Yeah, and I think, kind of the one thing about this offense, and I think it was one of the concerns with a lot of the people that watch and listen to the show, and we appreciate you. And hey, you know what? Like it, rate it, and if you don't mind, even leave a comment, and of course share it. So we appreciate all that as we continue to grow, and a lot of people getting excited about the Chargers. We mentioned the odds; they're favorites to win the AFC West. They're one of the favorite 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth in line. They dropped the Patriots. I mean, they traded for A.J. Brown, and the Patriots dropped to plus 1,700. So they are now all alone in fifth for Super Bowl odds. Rams, like we said, are heavy favorites, followed by the Bills, Seahawks, Ravens, and then the Chargers, plus 1,600. But one of the things that I think a lot of people were concerned about, like in the case of Cole Strange, it's like, okay, yeah, he's really good when he's moving, but what about when it's 2nd and 9, when it's 3rd and 11? And, that question was brought up to Butch Barry, and he had a great answer. He's like, he goes, look, what do we want to do? What do we say? What is the foundation of this offense? We are proactive. They are reactive. He's like, so if it's an obvious passing situation, I'm not going to let Justin Herbert sit there. He's like, we're going to do a number. He said Mike does a number of things. One, he moves the launch point. You don't know where he's going to be. Let's make sure that they have no idea where this quarterback's going to be the second that ball is snapped. He's going to be on the move, or maybe he is standing back there and they think he's going to be on the move. He's like, you always in those situations mix it up. He said, we have motions. This is an offense that has a ton of pre-snap movement. He's like, and you don't know where the chip's coming from. You don't know where the help's coming from because we do so much stuff with motions. And then he said, a lot of other offenses, it's 3rd and 9 and you're just trying to run a route to the sticks and you got to stand back there and hold that ball a little bit longer. He's like, that's not how Mike McDaniel operates. He's like, there's still a ton of screen, a ton of quick game, a lot of shallow crossers, because he is so conditioned to yak that he isn't just looking for a guy to get to the sticks and complete a pass. He is all about finding the space. And he's like, that's what makes this offense different, is our 3rd and longs don't look like a lot of other teams' 3rd and longs. He goes, and that allows us to continue to be a swing first, not, hold up your guard and protect on 3rd and long.
And that's what a lot of teams do. 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, they say get up and play press, take away the inside. Harder to throw is for the quarterback to throw the out route. Let's take away the inside. Let's bump him, make him go outside, make that quarterback get rid of the ball. Let's bring an extra guy. And what McDaniel's is going to do, 3rd and 7 or 8, most teams are going to play off. They're going to be playing in zones. They're going to be playing 4 to 5 yards off. McDaniel understands that. He knows these guys are going to give ground. They're thinking, okay, I got to bail. They're going 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8. I'm going to bail because I know I'm playing sticks. So the defender said, hey, you can give up all the way, just make the tackle to sticks. But if you're running back to the sticks as a defender and it's 3rd and 8, and all of a sudden you're running back to those sticks, and now I catch the ball 4 yards, and now you're 4 yards deep, that's what you're talking about, the yards that people don't understand. And said, well, what does that mean? That's crazy. No, it's not, because now you're giving the ball to a deadly receiver, a guy that that can create mismatch, and now the defender's 4 to 5 yards off. Now he's holding on to his britches saying, oh my goodness, I should have been playing him tighter. And now, oh my God, I got to make this tackle in space. And he has to cut off an angle. If you take a bad angle, he's trailing. He gives up even a bigger play. Now the next time you're saying, okay, they did that. Now I'm going to get up and play press. And now you run by them. So it gives the illusion of the defense. And that's what, Coach is saying that Mike McDaniel's does, is you never know where he's coming from. You don't know what he's doing. So he's going to always dictate tempo as an OC.
Yeah. And again, it's all of these guys that we've talked to that work for Mike McDaniel, they all just they are believers, man. They are just they are as invested in him and the way he calls offense, very much like the assistants are in Coach Harbaugh, and just how much they believe in the guy that's leading the charge, and doing everything they can. Max McCaffrey last week, they kept Sanjay Lal on. Of course they did. He's been sensational as a wide receivers coach. You see the growth in Q, what Ladd did his rookie year. Obviously what Trey was doing last year. So it's just incredible buy-in, and you hear it from all the assistants. I'll just kind of quickly get to the pressers. We already talked about Dalvin Tomlinson. The other two were Cole Strange and Kayode Awosika. I mentioned, we asked Coach Barry too about Awosika, and if he's the starting left guard, and he just said, look, it's a competition, man. There's no pads on yet. But he is the guy that's out there getting the reps. Kayode it's only about a 6-minute presser. It was pretty short, because he wasn't super long-winded with his answers. He even said that. He's like, look, I'm just going to give it to you straight. And his answers were kind of short, but very, I really enjoyed him. I really enjoyed the press conference. A very smart guy, very thoughtful, and just like I said, he's just very straight to the point. Was asked if he was told he'd have a shot to start. He said no. He's like, but I've always approached football the same way, no matter the level. It's going to be a competition. I'm going to have to earn it. So let's go get it. He's like, and I'm fine with that. And right now it looks like he's the starting left guard. Asked what he liked about the offense. And he said he's the one that used the term swing first. He's like, I like it because it's swing first. He said it's aggressive and it's swing first, and we get to go out and throw the punch. He's like, we're not the ones standing back protecting. He's like, we're throwing the punch. He goes, and that suits the way I like to play. He goes, I think everybody on the offensive line loves that approach. And I think that was just kind of the theme of sort of what he shared with us, is just that it's an aggressive offense for offensive linemen. And I thought that was kind of my big takeaway with him. But again, it was only like 5 minutes, but I thought it was, I don't know, I found it entertaining. So I think you guys will too, if you check it out on the Chargers YouTube page or on Chargers.com. Those are there. And it's quick, it's short, but very, very likable player. I'm looking forward to maybe getting to know him a little bit more and chat with him if he ends up becoming the starter. And then he also said this. He goes, thinking about being a starter in the league, he goes, it's just stupid. He's like, I ended up playing a few games last year. Guys get hurt, man. It's a game of attrition. So you can't think about, I'm not the starter, and then you settle into this, I'm a backup. He goes, no. He goes, dude, you could be a starter the next play. You could be a starter the next week. You could be a starter the next quarter. He's like, you can never have a mentality of, am I a starter or am I a backup? It's just, I can do this and I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we got Tom Brady on the phone. Exactly. Just what you just said. Tom Brady was a backup player, and Drew Bledsoe get hurt. And now look at his story. So you're absolutely right. And that's great mentality. You see so many guys look at themselves as I'm a backup. They don't take it serious. You're not committed. And you're like, okay, I'm never going to get on the field. This is that and the other. Then you get in and you poo-poo down the leg. So this is an opportunity when guys step in there. And that's what he's talking about. Don't get ready, but stay ready, because this NFL, Money, we've seen it every year. There's going to be injuries. Your number is sooner or later, your number is going to get called. Either you're going to answer the bell or you're going to get exposed.
Yeah, and it sounds like he likes that bell. He comes out swinging when that bell rings. And then finally, in Cole Strange, just his presser made it so much more obvious as to why they really wanted to get somebody that had familiarity in this scheme in here. He did it again. Go watch it, man. He's going to do a better job of explaining it than I am. You can obviously do a better job of explaining it than I can, Lo. I'm just going to kind of paraphrase what he shared. My big takeaway with him is with that presser was he mentioned how different this offense is. He said, look, when you're an offensive lineman, the last thing you want to be is over your toes. He's like, he goes, that is not what you want. He said, bad things happen when you get over your toes. He goes, this offense, you got to be on your toes. You are leaning forward. He goes, and it takes a while to condition that out of you because you just feel like, dude, I'm leaning and I'm getting dusted here, man. This is not going to end well. He goes, and it's basically surrendering to that idea. And he said it's really hard to do.
Oh, it's got to be, because guys want to sit when you're an offensive line. He's saying, okay, you're on your toes, you're leaning forward, you can get ducked, you can get pulled, you try to shoot off, you're going to be able to arm swing. So it has got to be different to those guys because they're in a track move, they're in the toes. Why? Because they want to get off and they want to pull left or right and be able to explode. When you're flat-footed on your heels, yeah, I can absorb someone's come. Now I got my base, I'm on my heels, I'm flat-footed, I can sink my hips and be able to block. So it's interesting how they make run and pass look. That's the thing, because you wonder as a defender, can I get some tendencies? Hey, if this guy now, they're usually on their toes, they're using that leaning forward because they want to get out of there. They want to, run with pace, get to a certain spot. But on pass, are they a little bit more crotch? So I think there's interesting just going to be to watch money this year for you and I can see, okay, run pass, to be able to see it for ourselves, to be able to say, man, I think they were going to pass here. He's sitting to that because the offensive linemen, they're on their toes. That's not a fun place to be, especially when you got guys in front of you that can move and get you with one move.
Yeah, I mean, that's and he goes, once you surrender to that, he goes, because everybody has to. He's like, if somebody's not doing it. Oh, that was the other thing too that Kayode said that was pretty cool. He said, this is what was it? It was not he said, it's don't chase perfection. It's aggression, not perfection. He's like, they just, as soon as that ball snapped, go. Don't think about it. Don't think about, oh, what about this? What if I miss this? He goes, it's just they are all about not thinking, be aggressive, and then we'll figure it out if something goes wrong. He goes, if you are thinking you're not on the line, you're not fast enough, and that's when the whole thing breaks apart. He's like, so that's a big thing that we preach, and that's what Cole was saying. He's like, you have no choice. He's like, because you got to be out and you got to be moving because everybody's doing the same thing. And if you're not, the chain breaks and we got a problem.
It will not break, but snap. And that's the thing. Sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you. When you're in this offense and you think, oh my God, if I don't get here, this guy's going to take a bad step and he's going to beat me because I'm surrendering. I'm in a sprinter stance. I'm going to pull out here. And if he gets back here, is he going to penetrate and mess up the play? But because that guard, he's running on that track and he's going to end up picking him up. And it's just a pickle effect. And so it usually works. And in the back, he can always cut back. So it's so many different plays. And that's what you heard, Coach talk about earlier. Remember you said, hey, he knew he was gone because of the defense, the way it was set up. And you never know where the back is. And you hear the offensive lineman saying that because of the way guys are running to a spot, maybe they seem like they missed their guy, but the next guy's going to carry him. And now that running back is going to cut instead, in the 9 hole, the 8 hole. So it's so many reads. So that's why it's imperative that this offensive line, they run, because you never know where the back is in this type of offense.
Yeah. And I mean, you just said it, Lo. I'm looking at the quotes I have written here for Cole. It works because everyone's doing it. If everyone's not doing it, it doesn't work.
No.
It is run off the ball. You force yourself to do it. It's awkward.
It is. Because it's going to be a cluster. Think about it, the tackle. He's got to reach this guy, and not reach, but the guy's playing head up, right? And he's taking off to a spot, and the guy just comes upfield. If he stops, the tackle stops and turns back. Now he causes a loud jam. The linebacker can play over the top. If the running back tries to bounce it, he makes a tackle. And if he tries to cut back because the tackle didn't run, now it's 3 guys there. Now that guard's man can just get up the field, compared to if the tackle just takes off, let the guard take the next guy. Now you hook the linebacker. It gives the running back options. That's why it's got to be awkward. As a lineman, you're like, oh my God, I gotta go. So I'm just thinking about it, and you're like, woof, you gotta buy into it. It's the buy-in.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Conviction over perfection is what Awosika called it. Conviction, attack first, swing first mentality, conviction over perfection. This coaching staff is all about going. So that's what we got, Lo. More offensive line conversation. And, they're getting these guys in shape. They've set the standard. They're running. I think they got a heck of an O-line coach in Butch Barry. He's very impressive. The players were impressive. I know people might have wanted somebody, Joe Bitonio just retired, so I know that was one name that everybody wanted. He's out. They wanted Seumalo. They wanted Jenkins, but it does sound like they've got a style. They've got a type, and they got their type, and so the whole sum of the parts argument, right? That's what we're going to be talking about. It feels like this whole is pretty special, especially with the way they describe Biadasz. If you've got those three as your anchors, Biadasz in the center, Slater and Alt, it feels like it's pretty good. Another offensive line pod. That's what we're doing. That's what we are. We're an offensive line pod these days, and I'm sure you love it, Lo.
Absolutely. And it's going to be like that. These OTAs right now, it's just about learning the system, running to the right spot, understanding what you're doing. You're not going to see who's going to make a team. This is about recognition. This is about attention to detail. It's about setting a standard. It's about hustling. It's about getting to your spots, making sure that everyone knows what they're doing. If you're looking for, hey, who's making the team with X's and O's and lining up, putting on pads, that's not what OTAs are for. This right now is to commit to the system and have the conviction to execute it.
You know what I executed? A poor 18 holes on Sunday. That's what I executed. Saturday I played. It wasn't that bad. You know what it was? I felt bad for my partner Muck.
You said it wasn't that bad. Oh yeah, it was.
For the case of the Fullback Classic, I assume we're playing a scramble. Is that what we're doing, Lo?
Yes, it's a scramble best ball.
I was driving the hell out of the ball. So really pumping the heck out of the ball. So that was good. The short game was atrocious. The mid irons were below average. I did not win a single skin. I did not win a single closest to the pin. We didn't win net. Me and my guy Muck that I was unfortunately paired with for him, not for me. We didn't win gross. We didn't win a single hole, like I said. I had a birdie, 3 pars, a ton of bogeys. I think maybe 2 triples, a few doubles. So, in a scramble, the Fullback Classic, June 26th, 27th, visit thepmlounge.com. Get in there. You'll be able to see my god-awful golf game up close and personal. It was, first time I played my own ball in like 18 months. So I'll take it.
A birdie, I'm going to take that birdie. You got a birdie, you got a couple pars. Of course, a double, you got to save it from the doubles. If you play bogey golf, you're okay.
Yeah.
The doubles can hurt you. But the birdie made up for a couple of doubles.
Yeah, the birdie, by the way, I'll tell you what, man, we were playing with some sandbaggers. I was not happy. These guys, and it's not my game, right? I got invited to the game, so I was just saying to these guys, I'm like, guys, let me get this straight. I'm on a par 3. I got 169, and I flush. I think I played an 8. I wanted to be below the hole, so I play an 8. It's pure shot, probably my best swing of the day, and it ends up getting tucked in there like 8 feet, right?
Oh,
yeah, that's where I got my birdie. So I make the putt, and I'm like, no brainer, man. I got myself a freaking skin here. And then come to find out, these guys that are playing ahead of us, they're all like 18s and 20s, and they're playing from the freaking forward tees. And I'm like, guys, I get it, man. On the par 4s and the par 5s, fine, if that's the way. It's not my game. I was like, you can't have guys playing the forward tees on par 3s. I was like, they had a 100-yard shot. It was like an extra 60 yards. I'm like, well, no wonder. They got a freaking 100-yard shot. One of them's going to make birdie, especially with all their strokes.
Absolutely. So, that's messed up money.
Yeah. So I felt like I should have had a skin. I didn't have a skin, and that's what I'm bringing to the Fullback Classic. A lot of doubles. So check it out. It's thepmlounge.com. Come see us. Come to Fresno, the end of June. There it is, baby. Hold that thing up, scan it, but it's right there. You can reserve your foursome at thepmlounge.com. Lowe and Eddie George, Jeff Garcia, Jim Everett's coming up, right?
Yep, Jimmy's coming too. Jimmy's
coming up. So come hang out with a bunch of fancy football folks and have a good time. It's going to be a really fun time on Friday night. The golf will be great unless you're playing with me. Then it won't be great. But and I certainly hope, Lo, that I'm not one of the celebrities that's going to be anchoring a foursome, because that would really upset some people if they end up getting stuck with me instead of O'Neal.
hey, it's for a great cause, the Girls and Boys Club. So, Money, you're going to be anchoring, and people are going to love you. You're the man, the myth. I tell everyone's talking. I tell you, Money's coming. A lot of people, believe it or not, you're big in the Valley. You're big in the Valley. So,
I love the Valley.
So
I love
exactly. I know you do. So it's for a great
Yep.
cause. We're going to have a good time. I appreciate you coming up and supporting the Fullback Classic.
All right, check it out. We'll be back again next week. Again, thanks to FanDuel. Get in there now, man. These things are going down. Like I said, they are fifth. They broke the tie with Kansas City and New England. They are all down now. Kansas City down at 1,800. The Lions at 1,700. Niners at 1,700. Patriots at 1,700. Chargers still holding strong at 1,600. So get after that now. Big thank you to Lindsay for helping us out. As always, we'll be back again next week, and it's going to be a fun one because we'll have all these mini camp practices to talk about. So bolt up.
Bolt up.